and then, things can happen when you are live. Every now and then, there are incidents that can occur when you are live on camera, or whether it's corporate media or independent media, and there's a decision that you have to make. You have to make the decision of whether or not you are going to go on with the show or try to continue to go on with the show, or you are going to tend to said incident. Well, that actually happened over the weekend. There was a Fox News contributor who was on a live broadcast, and she had an incident. And after that incident happened, what a lot of people noticed is that the host of the show decided that the show must go on. I think this has something to do with humanity, and it's a conversation that we need to have. And this idea that the show must go on, not just in show business, but apparently also in corporate media. I want you to watch this clip, and then we're going to go through it piece by piece. I want you to tell me what you think. So this is the clip that is going viral. The conversation here was about immigration. The woman here, I think you pronounced her name Cameron. The woman here is a guest contributor. She's not the main host. She's the one that is going to have the incident. Watch it in its entirety first, and then we'll go through it.
They put her as the border czar. She never went to the border. So this is about incompetency. It's not about ideology, or it's not about.
Oh my goodness. We're just going to get some help here for Cameron. Let me come back to Lydia while we get some help for Cameron here. Lydia, the President, we're going to go to a break right here. We'll be right back.
They put her as the border czar. She never went.
Okay. This is the clip that is giving many people pause, not because she fainted, but because the host chose not to go to her aid. Now we're going to go through this piece by piece, and I want to show you how he stops himself from helping. Watch it.
To the border. So this is about incompetency. It's not about ideology, or it's not about.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Notice the first thing that he does, which is typically your first response. He does a little bit of a reach, right? Because when someone faints or someone falls or someone just has an accident, your initial response is to help. Your initial response is to see if they are okay. So you see him kind of lean in that way at first. But then he decides to turn around. So again, let's go back here. And we'll see this.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, that part right there, there's someone that is coming over, but it's really weird to me that you see him lean in, but you don't see him get out of his seat. It's almost as if he's glued to that chair. And it's almost as though when he leans forward, like, oh my goodness, like that type of thing, that is humanity. That's the human thing to do. You want to see if they're okay. But he doesn't get out of his seat, and he turns back around and looks at the camera and tries to continue the show. Why? I have seen live news segments where people have had issues on camera and they've just cut to commercial. He could have even said that. He could have even said, we got to cut not even that, but just your first reaction is to help, to see if they're okay. but he doesn't do that. So we'll go back in again. There was someone in the background that was coming around, and some people may see this and say, well, there was someone coming over to see if she's okay. That's not the point. He proceeded to try to continue the show after a woman just fainted on camera. So watch.
We're just going to get some help here for Cameron. Let me come back to Lydia while we get some help for Cameron.
No. So let me come back to Lydia while we get some help for Cameron. So here's the problem, folks. You don't know if Cameron just died or not. You don't even know. And I know it's Fox News. I don't care if it was CNN. I would say the same thing. If someone fell out of this woman fainted, right? But you don't know if she's even alive. And it's like the initial response is, let's keep the show going. So let's just go back to Lydia instead of let me get up out of my seat to see if she's even breathing. You don't know what happened. We don't know. Now, Cameron is alive, but you don't know if Cameron just had a brain aneurysm. You don't know if she, and by the way, in that case, she would not have been alive. This is why I don't get this at all. But why does he do it? Why does he feel like he has to keep the show going regardless after this woman just fell out of her chair instead of checking to see if she's okay? One more time. It's very weird to me.
They put her as the border czar. She never went to the border. So this is about incompetency. It's not about ideology, or it's not about.
Oh my goodness! We're just going to get some help here for Cameron. Let me come back to Lydia while we get some help for Cameron here. Lydia, the President, we're going to go to a break right here.
So you see, they tell him to go to a break. By the way, I've seen this. I majored in broadcast journalism. I've seen anchors do this before on the air when they've had incidents happen live, and they've said, we're going to go to a break. Like, he could have just said that or whatever. But like I said, your initial response is to see if they're okay. It's as if like they have been trained that we have to keep the show going. They have to keep that propaganda machine going. And it was a very bizarre reaction to me. And by the way, it's not just people like me who, are on the left. It's also people on the right who are criticizing him for not getting up to even see if this woman was alive. You don't even know. You'll see some of the criticism here. Like I said, she could have had a stroke. You don't know what could have been happening, and you'll see people are speaking out against it. Fox News anchor ridiculed for not helping panelists who fainted during scary live interview. So here we go. His name is Jonathan Hunt. Fox News journalist Jonathan Hunt has come under fire for failing to help a panelist who fainted during a live interview on his show. And it goes into the details here, which you just saw. That was Cameron. And she came on the show for a discussion about Trump and his predecessor, Joe Biden. Then she lost consciousness mid-speech. Like I said, could have been a brain aneurysm, could have been a stroke, could have been a number of things, right? Fox News anchor Jonathan Hunt is slammed as cold-hearted for his behavior. Says it here, breaking: former Trump official who called Trump run for a third term, Cameron Kinsey, fainted while on Fox News. And I want you to see what some of the people are saying here. So let me just go down to this part. Fox News guest passes out. The anchor just sits there offering no help. What a cold-hearted loser, a user commented. That is one useless anchor, another user commented in all caps, while a third described Hunt as a real dipstick. Hey, Fox News, hire some actual real men as anchors. We hope Cameron is okay, but your anchor is a complete douchebag. Jonathan Hunt from Fox News has been elected POS of the week. Another netizen said, dude, man up and help the poor woman. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of people are speaking out about it. Now, Cameron says that she's okay. She did tweet this out. Wow, sorry for the scare last night. I wanted to start by thanking the incredible Fox News team and the EMTs who responded with such speed and care. It was an unexpected and frightening moment, but thanks to their professionalism and kindness, I'm doing well. To everyone who has called, texted, prayed, or checked in, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support has meant the world. I'm taking it slow, staying hydrated, letting my body rest, and thanking the Lord that everything is okay. It may not have been how I planned to end the segment, but I'll be back on your TV soon, hopefully long enough to finish my point about Kamala. So it sounds like she may have been dehydrated, right? Regardless, at that point in time, you don't know what was happening. You just know this woman just fell out of the chair. So it got me to thinking. It got me to thinking about people being like a slave to the game, a slave to propaganda, a slave to the media. And there is no reason why he couldn't have checked to see if she was okay. It's not like Fox News was going to fire him because he went to assist her. You see what I mean? But it's almost as though in his mind, the show must go on. Let's continue the propaganda. And that's what media mainly is nowadays. Just a bunch of propaganda, especially corporate media in particular. And I want to show you an example of that. I started watching Babylon 5, which I never saw before. There was a friend of the show, Roger Meadows, actually got me all 4 seasons for my birthday. And so we started watching that. And when I watch a new show, I like to look up the cast members to see if I saw them in anything else. This is kind of a little thing that I do. One of the cast members from Babylon 5, her name is Andrea Thompson. At some point, she decided to leave acting and pursue being a journalist. And I think this part is really interesting. So she went to school for journalism and everything. Like, she was serious about this. And later on, she became a CNN anchor. You may recognize her face here when I bring up her picture on the screen. Her name is Andrea Thompson. Again, like I said, she was on Babylon 5. Apparently, she was also a part of NYPD Blue. But when she decided to pursue a career in journalism, I do want to read this to you. You guys have got to hear this, the criticism that she had about her experience in CNN. So it goes on to say that she went to Stanford University. She started working on her GED and working for 1 year with Jack Hubbard, associate director of Stanford University's news service and a veteran journalist of CBS News. During that time, she took a writing seminar with KGO's TV feature reporter Wayne Friedman. She began her work with CBS affiliate KRQE in Albuquerque, New Mexico, as a general assignment reporter making $26,000 a year. So she was willing to give up acting, which she makes a lot more than $26,000 a year, acting, to seriously become a journalist. Now check this out. Thompson joined CNN Headline News as an evening anchor in June of 2001. CNN had laid off 400 of 4,000 employees in January and was focusing on personalities to draw in younger viewers. Her first words on screen as reporter were, "Hi, I'm Andrea Thompson. And unless you've been living in a cave, you probably already know that." Her hiring generated controversy in journalism circles, mostly because Thompson had just 1 year of journalism experience. But unlike some of the people that you see at the anchor desks on CNN News and Fox News, she had actually already worked out in the field in New Mexico. So just keep that in mind. So it goes on to say there were nude pictures and video clips of Thompson that were taken from the 80s era movies. Those began circulating on the internet, and it caused some embarrassment for CNN. But that's not why she actually ended up leaving. Thompson left the network in March of 2002. During an appearance in January 2003, she made a statement indicating she left CNN because she disagreed with the way the news was handled. Basically, you just give the viewers enough to scare the hell out of them and not any real valuable information. And we saw so much of that after September 11 that I thought was frankly irresponsible. Everyone take note of this, okay? Now, this was someone who was really serious about journalism, started at a local news station out in the field, went on to work for CNN. And one of the problems that she saw, I guess the big problem, the real reason why she left, was that she realized the propaganda machine. She realized they weren't actually telling you the news. They were just trying to scare the hell out of people, as she put it. And she saw that, especially after September 11. And she went on to say that you scare the hell out of the people and not any real valuable information. And she thought that it was irresponsible. This is the media propaganda machine. When you see Jonathan remain in that chair when Cameron fell out of her seat and not assist to help her, it's almost like it has been ingrained in them that the show must go on, the propaganda must go on. Anybody could have taken 5 minutes getting out of their seat to check and make sure that this woman is even still alive, which at the time they did not know. And yet his desire, the arm reach and then the pull back away and let me continue the show. This is why I don't like to call them journalists. This is why I like to call them actors. The anchors that sit at the desk, they become like celebritized and they're really acting. They're sitting there at that desk and they're reading a teleprompter. I don't have a teleprompter. I don't have anything in front of me but you. And they have been brainwashed, I would say, that you must continue to feed the propaganda. There's no way you can tell me that all these hosts who are sitting at these anchors believe half of the stuff that they're saying to you. There's no way you can tell me this. And from what I've heard from people behind the scenes, some of these journalists, they know that they're telling you false information, but they can continue to do it because the salary and the perks are so damn good. They don't want to let that go. That's a problem. They don't want to let go getting picked up in a nice car and being dropped off at the studio and getting their makeup and their hair done. They don't want to give that up. They don't want to give up the elite circles that they're a part of. But there is something seriously wrong in the media sphere if you can't get out of your seat for 5 seconds to see if the person who just fainted in front of you is even still alive. And then you turn around to the camera and say, well, we'll just go back to Lydia. What? Andrea Thompson saw through it. You see, she was there only a year. Andrea Thompson saw this is all just a facade. This stuff isn't even real. They put words on a screen and they tell the commentators to read it to the audience. It's not real, folks. I majored in broadcast journalism. I know. I've done those studio tours. I know how it works. These people don't know what they're talking about. They just read the words and where do the words come from? Who give them the stories that they need to share? Check out my interview. When you get a chance, if you haven't seen it, check out my interview with Alec Karakatanis, who just published a book called Propaganda: How the Police Manipulate the Media. I've told you before that the State Department manipulates the media, but it's all of these systems in place. They all work together. So when you see people tell the news on corporate media, who provides the stories? Where do the stories come from? How do they decide which stories they're going to tell and which ones they're not going to tell you? CNN and MSNBC have basically just become a media arm for the Democratic Party. Fox News is a media arm for the Republican Party, and all of them are media arms for the State Department. They're not giving you real news. They're giving you a narrative. They're pushing propaganda. And I think that Jonathan, for him to remain in that seat after she fell like that, she fainted like that, not to even see if this woman had a pulse. You've become a slave to the propaganda. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.